remember as 10 years old, I was out in the van with my dad cleaning carpets.
So you got a little trickle going?
Mark Saiger is one of the world's foremost experts on carpet cleaning.
So these really bad areas, you just got to spend a little time and go different directions.
With cleaning tips for pros and enthusiasts alike.
Hydrogen peroxide in a brown bottle. That's 3%. It's going to be safe to use, easy to use.
What do you do with wick back situations where stains come back on you?
Not just a cleaner.
Saiger special sauce there, Boost.
Mark has more than 20,000 subscribers on YouTube and has plenty of business advice for those of you who want to offer mobile cleaning services.
They can tell when you're smiling through the phone, and I'm not lying. You can tell when someone is smiling through the phone. If you come to the door, you allow them to show their personality first. When you ring on the doorbell or knock on the door as a carpet cleaner, that one of the other things or a service person is you do take 2 or 3 steps back. Knock on the door, get out of their space, allow them to have the opportunity to bring their space to you. You do need to look good. Your equipment needs to look good. If you're going to charge a Mercedes-Benz price for cleaning, you better be driving up in a Mercedes-Benz type vehicle.
And a warning to any detailer who touches carpets that this could happen to you.
You won't know it's there. And then the worst part of it is then you have to explain to that client you're cleaning for what just happened.
Mark Saiger, welcome to Nick at Night. From where you sit as a carpet cleaning expert, what's the number one thing or tip you could give someone who's interested in getting stuff out of carpets or cloth upholstery?
You know, first of all, just start with a dry, I always say a dry rag, and I have a friend to pick on, Joel. I say, but anyway, get yourself a dry microfiber towel, and you will blot. Just try to take it off what you can right away, whatever is spilled, without anything. Just get up all of it you possibly can soak up, and microfiber is going to soak it up well. Then, if you need to, you could go like just a little, like if you put a little dollop in your sink of dishwashing detergent, to wash your dishes, you could do something the same like that in a gallon bucket, just the smallest, just for a little surfactant. So not a lot is not better. Just dip then that rag or towel into that solution, blot on the potential spot, then take another dry towel, rag, and start moving and trying to get so wet one, dry one. And that's how you can get a lot out.
So you wouldn't just go ahead and spray a chemical on the area and start agitating hard?
No, definitely not. And the other thing is, some of the products that you can get, we'll call over the counter in uptown, aren't always the best necessarily to use, because they can have some products in it that can be some optical brighteners or some chemistry that can actually take the color of the carpet out. And they'll say, test in an inconspicuous area, the spots right in the middle of the living room. That's where I'm going. And I'm not taking the time for it to do its chemistry to take the color out in a day or two and, whatever. And so you just go at it in the middle. So you can just basically do that. Now, the other thing that I always am a proponent of, and this is on polyesters and nylon carpets or products, not on fine fabrics, not on wools, not on linens, not on cotton. You can use peroxide. 3% peroxide is what you get from uptown to like put on your wounds and stuff. You can put a mist head on it. Peroxide is awesome for your coffee spills, your Coca-Cola type spills, tea spills. You just mist it on it. Walk away, leave it. Don't rinse it. Just leave it. It's only 3%. What I'm going to use as a professional is 9.9%.
Mark, you have an amazing YouTube channel. You have an amazing story. I want to talk about all that, but I do want to also talk about carpet cleaning. So we may get in the weeds a little bit. We may go really into the weeds, but I want folks to know there's more to the conversation than this. So
sure.
In terms of a basic thing here's what we run into as detailers. And it's not fresh. I'm not talking about a fresh coffee stain, although you did address that as a DIYer. Like, maybe I just spilled coffee. What do I do, right? Blot with dry, then try wet. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I'm talking, we're often coming in after the fact to try to be the rescuer. We have no idea what's going on. And that's where I'm wondering is like, how could I use peroxide in that setting? Am I cleaning first and then extracting or rinsing? And then also... extractors get cars really wet, and not everybody has an extractor. So maybe we just start with the peroxide again. Let's start from square one. What do I get and how do I use it?
So go uptown just to the drugstore and just get yourself plain old hydrogen peroxide in a brown bottle. That's 3%. It's going to be safe to use, easy to use. So if you've got that coffee spill that's dry now, and you haven't extracted, just even as a do-yourself DIY, the people out there, just mist it on it, leave it. Don't do anything with it. Just let it sit there, and what's going to be safely oxidizing, or what we'll call oxidization, is like a bleach, but it's a safe bleach, safely oxidized, and it turns to a water. Now, if you were to extract it first, say if you were a cleaner, and this is all you got because you don't have any of our other peroxide solutions with some other little formulas, get that same bottle, spray it on after you're done cleaning, and there's still that stain there, and leave it. And you might actually have to do it a couple times. Don't try to dry it. So after it dries, it'll start drying, and then again, go to water state, nothing. It can work a little bit, but you might have to retreat it. I spilled this entire thermos. Actually, I didn't. The new schnoodle did, with the top open, of hot coffee on my cream colored nylon carpet. So it dumped this whole thing out upside down into my nylon carpet, down to the padding and stuff. So, I just took peroxide and started, after I blotted and pushed, and I weighted it down because there was pad underneath there. So I put weights on top of it. I can't remember what I grabbed, something just that won't leave a rust mark or whatever. So it weights down and it pulls like a candle wick up into it. So it pulled a ton of it, and I swapped it out, grabbed another in half a day and did it. Just keep wicking it out to the top. Then I kept spraying it with hydrogen peroxide. I made that stain go away on my cream colored nylon carpet.
You used nothing besides hydrogen peroxide?
Nothing besides hydrogen peroxide.
So you're spraying, letting it dry, spraying again, right? Because what I remember learning about in carpet cleaning technician school, or my CCT course, was that, like, unlike everything else, peroxide doesn't happen right away. It just has to happen with oxygen over time.
Yes, true. So that's where some of the carpet cleaners, even in the industry, knew, well, spray it on and then rinse it out. Well, it didn't work. It's not meant to work that. Sometimes it will work that fast. I'll take that back. If you type in Saiger's and Just Like Magic, that's one of the peroxide solutions we came up with the company I work with. You type that in, you'll see it. And it went away immediately. This was because of the type of stain and the peroxide I was using. It was a little stronger. It was able to do that. But otherwise, you just keep retreating it. I have people that'll call me all the time, maybe a wick back spot or something. And I say, you got any hydrogen peroxide? Mist it on it, knowing the carpet. Or they're in a whole nother, oh man, I've had them in different countries, Australia and stuff. I'm like, you got some hydrogen peroxide available there? Yeah, go get it, put it on it. There, they have a lot of wool carpet though. So a 3% was still safe in that case for them. But, for us in the United States, a lot of polyester out there these days, and nylon is kind of fading. But
well, it's interesting because I remember learning in my 1 or 2 day course, my CCT course, which I didn't even pass the test, Mark. So hey, I at least went, man. I at least went. All right. There were 5 different generations of nylon. There's wool carpet. None of that matters for cars. What kind of carpets are in cars? What should folks out there know who are just trying to get the crap out? I also want to talk about hot water extraction. I also want to talk about wicking. I also want to talk about your story. So remind me to talk about all these things. But just basically, what are we dealing with in cars?
Polyester, a lot of polyester in cars. Now, if you get into some classic and high-end cars, you might run into something different. There's a good chance there's polyester there. So with the polyester, it's got a protection to it already. So it's easier to deal with that. So with cars, the basic thing is any carpet cleaning, let's say, vacuum. You've got to dry vacuum a ton. And when you think you're done, do it some more. I did car detailing when I was younger, and my knuckles are just suffered from it at the time. And we didn't have half the stuff we have these days, even in chemistry, but vacuum the heck out of it. Get you that shop vac, whatever it is. Get an air chuck in there and put on a mask and start blowing around in your goggles, because you're going to blow up those sand, fine things. Blow it out of those edges and corner and vacuum and vacuum. After you've done that, then you can start applying your wet solutions, your pre-sprays to help emulsify and suspend soils for extraction. And then you can hot water extract. Now, you got to make sure you do a lot of dry passes, I'll call it, after you've done your cleaning passes too. Dry passes. Take
with an extractor,
time.
Right?
With an extractor.
Okay, and here's what it is. I will die on this hill.
Yeah.
Hot water extraction is the best way to clean carpets. Full stop. But
used to be.
Listen to me, and then you tell me what you know, because I'm not a cleaner full time. I don't do that. This is where I stand. Hot water extraction is the best way to deep clean. The problem is these days, we get these cars so wet, seats even cloth seats, which I don't know who has cloth seats anymore, but they have sensors in them. There's all kinds of, heaters. Like and if you get it wet, you got to get it dry. And so I'm telling detailers out there, go get yourself 5 air movers, spend $500-$600 on those. It's really difficult. I tell people dry as fast as you can, blah, blah, blah. But I guess, what is your take on deep cleaning carpets? Can we do it dry? Do we need an extractor? What are some tips if you were working in these tight spaces, right? Like it's so tight. You think that it can't be that much work, right? You do a whole room or a whole house in your world. That's so much more real estate. But for some reason, these cars just take so long. It's tight, it's intricate, it's tricky. I guess, what are your thoughts on the extraction and what I just said?
It's called detailing. I mean, even when we're carpet cleaning, it's the little details. Like, again, yesterday I was cleaning and videoing way up north in Big Fork, North Dakota. Look that place up. That's an hour drive here up in the wilderness. Beautiful, kind of like your background. But so what it is, it's detailing. I had to pre-vacuum, get out the edges and stuff. I was dealing with construction debris. You have to detail things. Even when I was cleaning, there's times I have to get out my towel rag and detail out even a corner after I've steam cleaned or try to get it with, the wand edges and stuff. So detailing is the huge part of that, to make it look good. Now, when you're cleaning this upholstery, the carpet's probably going to be a little more safer to clean. You don't have as many sensors and things like that, but it can be very difficult to get out salt and get out the soils and dirts. And that all the debris that gets in there, and people, like you say, they live in their car. They don't necessarily take care of it. They live in it and look at it and go, hey, that's dirty now. And you've got this much junk on top of the carpet. So again, break it up, get it dry, but wet cleaning, yes, dry passes, and yes, a decent extractor. Now with the seats, don't be soaking the seats. Even with your pre-spray, you don't need to do that a lot. You can use some type of pump up or mist or just spray misting device to get what's called your pre-spray on there. And you can use an upholstery pre-spray, which stays a little wetter longer, by the way, so it doesn't dry as fast as a carpet pre-spray will, but you can use that. And so a lot of people use the same pre-spray on the floor, same up on the seats. You can get away with that with polyester. In my world, if I did that to a cotton or a linen or some other piece of upholstery, it's going to brown. And then I'm going to have this ugly brown chair in my living room because I own it. Okay. On a car, you can get by with a lot. But you want to make sure after you pre-spray, you agitate, even with a hand buffing mitt, and then extract. And you're going to want to extract in it, one way or another, however you can, and fighting and holding the upholstery and doing it this way or doing it this way. So you're going to extract at least once across, go to the next trail, a little overlap across, little overlap and across, and you're going to want a dry pass. All dry passes. And
lots of dry passes.
Lots of dry passes. Now, you're also going to maybe, if you got a clear head unit, you're going to see how much soil's coming out of there, what you're leaving. And then you're going to go over it again, possibly. I'm going to tell you, if it is so incredibly bad, you will not get it 100% clean. Your clients need to know that you're working for too. You've let it get to this shape. I will do the best I can to get it looking very respectful and as clean as I possibly can. So the same thing happens in my world. I've got clear heads or tubes and I'm watching. There's times I have to give up because I allow it to dry. And then that means the next time I come to clean it, a year, 2 years, 5 years, I maybe have a better chance of dry vacuuming out, or they dry vacuumed out more soils that I've still left behind. And then I can get out more again the next time. So, and it gets better. I've honestly seen restaurants that I've taken over that over time, in 5 years or so of cleaning, then they finally start looking better and staying cleaner longer.
So trying to do the one superhero clean isn't always realistic.
No. I watch some of the detailer pages. I'm on it, some of the detail pages, and I watch and I see some of these poor people and they're young and it's their first times. And then these people blast them and then, try to rip them off on the money and the payment and, get them lower price after the fact. And I feel terrible for them because, first of all, in my opinion, you don't get paid enough for detailing vehicles. You don't. And I've dealt with and worked with a company that teaches detailing vehicles. And what you get for detailing a whole car, interior and exteriorly, dude, I make way more than that in an hour and in a day. Yeah.
And that's where I was as a detailer. I just started to hear guys like you tell me how much you could make in carpet cleaning. And so I went to the carpet cleaning technician training. And then I went to John Don, which is this big company. You would be able to explain better than I. Based out of Chicago, I did their week-long class. Actually, I met the late is it the founder?
Yes, Nick Palalis. He was Papa Nick.
Papa Nick, and we know what's so fascinating about him is he's like the Don of John Don or whatever. He's the patriarch. And it was so cool because they're this big company, right? You can tell that they've done very well in the janitorial and carpet cleaning world and distribution of cleaning chemicals. They've got their warehouse there and I think multiple other ones. And this is the leader of this entire company. And he served us food in the mornings. And I thought, what a cool example that a leader can be a servant or serve. And I'm so grateful that I got to meet him, even though that's not even the world that I inhabit anymore. I could just tell that he was a big deal in your space.
But he taught you values. He taught you human values, people values. Again, you and I both were band people. I was a high school band director for years. I knew your band director very well. Your band
back in Minnesota, yeah. So I grew up in Minnesota, played tuba. We had this conversation before the podcast.
Yeah,
there's a lot to talk about there. Yeah.
So you learn human factors, and that was one of the things with John Don and with Papa Nick and them. They were teaching you to be human. And I think that's the most important part in any business and service organization. I got to say, as band directors, the reason it came up is because my philosophy was always the kids eat first, let everybody go to the front. And we'd also teach the kids, if you see somebody in the restaurant trying to get there, just part away and you move them to the front. Be courteous, bring them to the front. And they always did. And we had
What do you mean kids eat first? Are you on band trips? Or
As me as a chaperone, as an adult, kids eat first, I eat last. That was the thing. We always taught that the kids are important. Then the kids, I as a leader need to learn and show as a leader, this is how you lead. It's not I'm first in front. This is how I lead. You've seen some of those things where, you've got the leaders in front helping pull the team, or the leader's not in the back cracking the whip. The leader's in the back making sure the herd and everybody has gotten to the front and they're taken care of. And then I can go eat and relax. It doesn't really happen that fast, but I eat faster and get out of there. And I'm not starving. So, but that's one of the things with leaders. Same with Papa Nick. You would notice Papa Nick would not serve himself food until the very end, even, or snack. It was the same thing. They lead by an example. And so the same thing when in the business or with the people I have. Like when I was doing restoration, I would cater in meals to these places because my people would not quit working. You can take time off, do that. No, we're going to keep going. And we would do huge projects in like 2-3 days to have people back in their homes. It was ridiculous. But I would cater in like a taco bar and all this. And I'd make them stop to eat. But some of these people I hired were teachers, retired teachers, morticians, firefighters, cops. I had one person who had been in jail, and the other one was a pastor, and the other one was a cop working side by side. So life has presented a lot of great things for me, but also with John Don and Papa Nick, he taught how to be loving to people. And throw the plug here, I guess. So John Don was one of the first people to carry my products.
So you have a product line. We haven't mentioned that. Go ahead. Plug it. Yeah. Talk about that and John Don.
So it comes from being a band director and everything. At times, we joke about a lot of things and make fun. So the product's name is Saiger sauce. Nobody calls a pre-spray a sauce. So I did. Our family did. So my family's been in the cleaning and hot water extraction, steam cleaning methods, for like 56, 58 years. So my dad is known apparently as one of the pioneers of the steam cleaning method. And as you grow up, you don't know that stuff. So one of my portables is out here in my shop, the old number 1. Dad's 87, mom's 84. But we were working and dabbling with chemistry and coming up with things because there was nothing made back then. You'd have a machine, but you had nothing for chemistry. So, but anyway, John Don took up our products and that big world presence, and they're still one of our largest distributors. So, but John Don, I've worked with a ton. And,
so that's a reality. Yeah. I didn't know there was that connection. So I'm glad that was a bridge to kind of chat about Saiger sauce. I'll tell you what my journey was. Is I was just sick of trying to use a degreaser to clean carpets. A lot of the California detailers that I started watching in the earlier YouTube detailing days didn't have salt stains on their carpets. And they weren't busting out extractors to do really nasty cars. I just saw them working on really fancy cars. So these were certain people that I watched early on. I needed better answers. So that's where the janitorial world provided me of, okay, a high spray pH or a high pH pre-spray, then you have to neutralize with an acidic rinse. We haven't really gone over any of these principles, but I just wanted to, maybe you could explain kind of just the basics of carpet chemistry. So I discovered after lots of trial and error, probably one of your competitors, of which I'm sure you don't want to like malign anyone, but the best thing I've ever found, and this is the duo that a lot of detailers are now using, I've made no money off of it, but is BioBreak from Bridgepoint, and then Flex Ice, and they happen to be based in Salt Lake, so there's kind of a convenience there where I've met the Tom Forsyth, the chemist, and so I'm a carpet cleaning nerd to an extent, not even close to where you're at, but that seems to work for a lot of detailers. Now, if they see this podcast and they're like, this Mark seems like a really awesome guy with the heart of a teacher. I'm starting to get his personality. You've got more than 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, so there's a reason why you're here, is because I've been watching you for a long time. Maybe explain carpet cleaning basics, the chemistry behind it, and then how some of your products work. How you think? Because in cars, man, it's nasty oils. I've tried a lot of stuff. Like I tried a lot of the Truck Mount Forums products and the Viper and the Grout stuff, and I was like, let me throw everything in the kitchen sink. And BioBreak always seemed to work the best. So let's talk basic carpet cleaning principles, and then how some of your products could work in cars.
Sure. So first of all, carpet cleaning formulation is built to be applied on carpets and some possible furniture. So it's going to have different surfactants in it. It's going to be healthier and easier to use on the carpets and with your noses in front of it versus some of the degreasers, which are meant to degrease automotive engines and things like that, which we think if it's working on there, it's going to work on here. But it is harder to extract and remove out of carpets, and it lingers and it sticks on. And you might not feel it, but it can cause a residue in the resoiling. So in our industry, we don't want that to happen. So the same thing with our products, like Saiger Sauce 1 is one of the products that's used. It's up there, and the pH is around the 11 pH also. Easier to extract. We have for the really super nasty, which is popular, it's called Code Red. It has an oxy and an enzyme. You'll see that in a lot of my YouTube videos on the nasty restaurant stuff. And what that is around a 12-ish pH. But these here are all of these are meant to be easier to extract. So that's the other thing. A lot of people will just freshwater rinse versus running a neutralizer in it, which is, like in our case, we have our Deep Blue, which is it's our rinse, Deep Blue rinse. And then also with Bridgepoint, they're going to have some rinses too. I think
people don't even know what rinse is. So I want to make sure people, the rinse agent is the chemical you put in your extractor. So
yes,
like, maybe talk about why the extractor cleans so well and why we put a rinse agent in there.
Yeah, first of all, your pre-spray is actually what your cleaner does most of your cleaning. But the rinse agent, now water, all around the country, all around the world, water is actually one of the most difficult things to make work properly, to condition. Because water, if you get better water quality, it will rinse and pull more minerals out. But a lot of our waters around the whole world, the whole country, have a lot of minerals to it.
Yeah.
So, and even carpet cleaners get the fact they think that, this rinse is going to hit it and it's going to neutralize and take it right out. It's from a 12 pH right down to neutral 7, 8 pH. And it's actually true to a point. What your rinse agent does is it conditions the water so that it can work better to gather the pre-spray. So there's where the neutralizing sense is. Gather that pre-spray in soils out easier. It makes the water better. So then I have other people, in our industry at times will say, I'll call it sometimes not as informed cleaners saying, well, I'm just applying another chemical and that means I got residue left behind. Not necessarily. These are pretty much, chemistry is going to work in there to just pull it all out with the water. So your water you're making it efficient. And then what that can do is it also will tap into the color dye lots. Like in our case, our Deep Blue rinse will tap into the color dye lots and to make it brighter. And it'll also help then to make it softer, again, because you're thoroughly rinsing easy enough too. And it just conditions the fibers to feel softer. So that's your rinsing.
And I've gone so far down the rabbit hole, like I wanted to get it so perfect where I would rinse out my pre-spray because I didn't want anything to brown or to get sticky or to resoil faster, which is what happens if you don't rinse, right? And then I got to this cynical place with detail. I'm like, people live in their freaking cars. Like, does it even matter if it resoils fast, if it looks good today? Because I was just talking to a guy who's like, most of your car carpet is black. 90% of it's black. He runs a thing where he does 50 cars a day. So he's in and out, restoration, not doing deep dive details. And he's like, what do you call it, dye or spray paint? We're spray painting carpets all the time. And I'm sure that's like sacrilegious to you, Mark, because you get paid for, you've had a great living, like carpet cleaning's in your blood. And you're talking to a guy who's spray painting carpets and sending them. So I was the purist for a while. And then I was like, does extraction just take too dang long because everything's wet and then you got to dry it?
Let me tell you about that. That was in my mind today to share that story back. I can remember when I was in college and I had this car, the used car place that was just tapping into me for cleaning cars. And I hated it, and it was always super trash and ugly. Well, then he was getting cars. And all of a sudden I'm taking my first swipe down the carpet. I'm like, why did that just change from this like blue color? Now it's to this brown color. Take another swipe, go across. They were painted. The carpets were painted. So, I mean, we're talking, I'm 63 years old now. So that's 40 some years ago. They were painting car carpets. It stuck in my memory so much. I'm like, I was going to say, just wait till that day you get your first painted car carpet. And I'm serious. You won't know it's there. And then the worst part of it is then you have to explain to that client you're cleaning for what just happened. So don't mean to be like that guy that doing it. I get it. But for the rest of us that have to follow up at some point, be prepared to say, hey, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Jones, but I just changed the color of your carpet, but I didn't. Somebody else had already done it at your dealership or wherever, and then they're going to be upset. So, yeah.
So do you recommend extractors in cars?
I do. And I also do what's called low moisture cleaning at times too. So when you're seeing some of these super clean cars, you maybe don't have to extract. You can do what's called low moisture, and we have a peroxide-based low moisture, very low moisture cleaner. Saiger's all right.
Yeah.
So, and I was not creative on this, so it's just trying to get the point out. But it's Saiger's 2X double strength oxy Encap, and we call that the code red of Encaps because the oxy is in the powdered code red, and now I have oxy in this, but different spectrums. The powdered pre-spray is a high pH 12, pH powdered pre-spray. This liquid Encap is only like a 4 to 6 pH. Really kind of weird.
So that keeps it in the neutral range, right? You don't have to extract after it. Okay.
Yep. No extraction on an Encap product. So it cleans really remarkable. Brightens, has a nice, just natural scent, smell to it. We didn't add anything to it.
And brightening on black carpet, is that gonna turn it white, or is that just gonna?
No. It'll just help sparkle a little more. And then we have our regular without an oxy. It's just Saiger's 2X double strength Encap. So, and that's the blue. And that's the only 2 Encaps we've needed. I don't need like, I'm going to create this because it'll make a new name or something on it, or I'll create this, so it'll generate some more interest in the line. I don't do that. Matter of fact, the last I just released 2 new products, and it's honestly been 3 years in testing and 3 years since I released something new, because we will field test like incredible and reformulate or just keep working on the formulation. Or we've had some projects that we've just kind of like tabled because we'll just hit a wall and like, I don't know where to go with this. And I've kind of lost interest. So, yeah. I
want to talk about the Encap products then, because that's a real passion of mine, is like, how can I get Encap to where I was a full believer in Encap. And then you realize, again, you're in Minnesota, I'm in Utah, like it's winter. These cars get really nasty. Sometimes Encap is a brilliant solution. Other times you really need something going after all the nasty oils with the hot water mixed with your powdered pre-spray. Give it the dwell time, agitate it thoroughly, then hot water extract. That got better results for me. When is a good time to use, in your opinion, encapsulation cleaner on car carpets or upholstery?
So on a car carpet, like you're describing, what we get in that nasty stuff, you're more likely you're going to be better. It'll be quicker. You could still do it with an Encap. It's going to take longer, in my opinion, to do it more thoroughly. But if you extract with the nasty stuff, that's probably going to be the better way in some cases here. And like it's Saiger's steam clean, so I always laugh when I'm doing it. But we're going to go to the dark side and be encapsulation cleaning today. And I have a video coming out probably in another week from now where I actually got into a place in an apartment complex, couldn't get a portable in, which forgot the hose for it anyway. And I couldn't get any hoses from the truck mount in, and all I had was my low moisture cleaning Trinity. And I've got throw up on the floor, which nobody told me it was. So I have what's called a CRB, which you're familiar with,
counter rotating brush. It's like a drill brush, which a lot of detailers use drill brushes on steroids.
So it's kind of going in 10 inches wide, the one I have, and you put trays on it for capturing some of the soils and stuff. It doesn't vacuum, by the way. You need to vacuum, but I wasn't going to vacuum the throw up in this apartment room. So after I got up and I gloved up and I found a piece of wood and I scrape up the throw up that's probably been there now a month. Chucking that in the bag, start throwing another peroxide solution on just to see what I get. And I start seeing it turning green. I'm going, oh man, did it somehow?
Why did you put peroxide on it before cleaning it?
Starting to just break down the organic. It'll start eating it up and going after the organic.
So I'm just looking for lessons for detailers out there. So
yes,
if
absolutely.
you see vomit and you a lot of guys use air tools and stuff, so they may break it up with an air tool and try to.
Yes.
But if it's all caked in there, what is that something you recommend then before your pre-spray?
Only the thing is, I typically would try to rinse first. If I had, which I didn't have a machine to do that. Otherwise, I would rinse first because I want to get that out. I want to get if they use
rinse with
any
water or a rinse agent.
A rinse agent, yeah.
Okay,
rinse agent,
that's not going to hurt anything to use a low pH rinse agent first.
No. Okay. And what we're trying to do is remove any spot you see in any situation, carpets, whatever. I rinse first because I want to get out. I didn't use anything on it. Kitchen sink is empty. They've put everything under the kitchen sink on it. So you're going to rinse out that other chemistry. Try to get it out because now I'm going to add another chemistry that could give me some new volatile thing and all of a sudden take the color out of the carpet.
Because they didn't tell you, but they've used OxyClean. They've tried everything before they called someone they were going to pay a lot of money to, right? So you're rinsing it. So if it's something you think they've touched or messed with, or any suspicion, rinse it first.
Definitely. So in this case, I knew that nobody had obviously tried to do anything with this. And I was in a situation, so I just started spraying on it. It's called Just Like Magic. We talked about that peroxide solution and watch it. But then I started seeing it turn green and a little bit different, not knowing that the carpet around it was so soiled too. So I ended up CRBing over it, trying to get up what I could. I saw it. Then our Oxy encapsulation product, that Saiger's 2X double strength Oxy. And I have a pad machine. This is called oscillating pad, OP machine, which I like better.
Is it a rotary movement?
Yeah, and it's microfiber with a foam core. And today's foam, what it can do for absorbency. So I start going over that with my Oxy Encap and not knowing what's going to happen. All of a sudden, boom, it's gone. And it's not, it's absorbing up into that pad. So then I'm also flipping the pad over and microfiber. So when you see microfiber in cars, microfiber in chairs, and you've got all this greasy grime all over it, microfiber loves soils and oils. And that's why it's great for our industry for pulling up and wiping up everything, because microfiber is super absorbent and likes that kind of stuff. So that pad I had, the microfiber absorbing it, pulling it up into the pad, and then I use a polyester and cotton blended pad to go over that too, to refine and keep pulling up. So I went through a couple pads just, to make sure and get it up. No odor issues, because also the Oxy and the peroxide in my Encap product was also helping eliminate the odors, which I have a number of odor eliminators, by the way, too. So that, and I do have detailers use that.
I want to talk about your products. So keep in mind, if you could just give detailers a couple of product recommendations, but I also realize, as I often do, there's beginners out there. What is encapsulation cleaning?
Glad you asked that too.
We almost skipped over it like we knew it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, let's go over the technology, because it's not. Yeah. A lot of people will spray on and wipe. That's pretty intuitive. And you can do that with Encap, but it's nice to know what Encap really is doing, because I think you can leverage it better if you understand the science.
So, I got to be honest, in the beginning, encapsulation and encapsulation products weren't as good as they are today. So the process wasn't as good. Microfiber, polyester cotton blend pads made a difference. The formulas made a difference. So an encapsulant means there is a polymer in there in the cleaning, a neutral type cleaner typically, that will go out, and I call it rounding off the jagged edge soils when it starts to dry. It'll dry on the soils. So then it's easier as it dries than when you vacuum or somebody else comes behind you and vacuums, or cleaning, or even as I'm cleaning, it's drying and encapsulating the soils for easier extraction. Like the Oxy product I have, I've taken and thrown it into a pile of dirt one time, and it's fizzed up and boiled up at least 3-4 inches high. It'll start just moving those soils to the top. Not all encapsulation products will do that, but the whole idea is so when it encapsulates, it's easier to vacuum out too. and you don't have to extract it. You can extract it, but then it doesn't leave the polymer behind, but that's okay. But they'll sometimes work as a pre-spray too. But an encapsulation product, you spray it on, you start buffing it. And I have a couple of videos on just cleaning a couple chairs at my places in Florida, just showing it with a card buffer. And I can do that, but you kind of have to change the pads on occasion because your pads are absorbing the soils.
On a rotary or a dual action? Okay. So for guys out there, guys and gals who have rotaries, you could maybe take your wool or your microfiber pad with your Encap solution and just try that on cloth seats. Would you spray it on the seats first, let it dwell a little bit first?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you buff it too, and then you just start buffing a little more. We've actually fixed, in our case, we fixed fine linen type cotton upholstery with encapsulation product after we steam cleaned it. We had some situations of a streaking and stuff that had taken place. So we went in, we start misting on our encapsulation product, and we start buffing it with this buffer. And it's low oscillating. It's just a palm buffer we had, and we've got a microfiber bonnet pad on it.
So would that have been like a dual action sander then in your hand, just a palm sander? Or was it
the palm sander? It's a rotary, but it's slow rotary. Slow, okay. Very slow.
Yeah.
So if you go too fast, you're going to burn them, just like you can a car finish too. You start doing that upholstery, yeah, you might have a new seat for your Jeep or something, So you got to be careful. It's the same thing, but it works. It's awesome. Or if you got to polish, and they've got these hand bonnets you can do. And it's not just cotton. Cotton isn't just the best absorbency. It's a polyester cotton blend that works a lot. Microfiber, again, is great because microfiber is going to absorb a ton. It's going to take out the oils and those soils into a microfiber. And just have a number of them. Little, I'll just go up to the auto detail shop or the car, even though, O'Reilly's down the road here from me and grab some 5-inch, 6-inch, 4-inch, what I need for that palm sander. I can't remember it. I'll just throw them in there and I'll wash them up again and reuse them until I wear them out.
Well, this podcast is on the House of Rags YouTube channel, so they've got amazing microfiber as well. So quick plug, support the House of Rags, subscribe to their channel. They're supporting Nick at Night. So how can they support you though, Mark? I want to know what products are detailed. First of all, if this sounds intimidating to folks, get a product, try it, detail a bunch of cars. You will figure out solutions in the field that work for you. Like it becomes intuitive, Mark, as you work. Like, this works, this doesn't, right? But best practices can help guide you, but nothing replaces experience. So what do detailers use from your line that they're liking, that's working well for them? Like, give us some feedback that folks out there might be able to use.
So Saiger sauce one, and it's a blue product. It's got a lemon citrus scent to it. And, detailers' cars like smells. A lot of people. There are some odorless formulas I have, though, too. The Code Red is odorless. And also I have a product called 10 Below, which I came up with. It's 9.5 pH, warranty safe in our industry. So we use cleaning these darn cold weather, up here in 22 below the other day, and below zero, by the way. And so I said, I'm going to create a product when it's warranty safe, and I'm going to call it 10 Below because of what we clean in. Then I found people thinking, it's only used for cold weather cleaning. No, it's for everyday cleaning. But anyway, so that's a great product. For odor elimination, we have what's called a CIDE, C-I-D-E, odor elimination. So I have a lime citron odor destroyer, a eucalyptus mint odor destroyer, and brand new 2 weeks ago, mango citrus odor destroyer. And how an odor destroyer works, or a CIDE, C-I-D-E, has to make contact with the odor-causing molecule so it can slice that molecule link in half, so that your nose cannot pick up the odor anymore. So what it does is it breaks the link. And then the odor might still be present as far as atomic nuclear makeup will say, but your nose cannot now pick up the odor anymore.
So that's an odor destroy but like with car seats, like again, I tried a lot of pre-sprays in the market, like the oils, the mystery stuff. Like, is there, because I tried Flex Fire. That works good in restaurants, Mark, but it don't work in cars. I tried. I tried a lot. I spent hundreds of dollars on gallons of different things on cars, and whatever BioBreak had, it worked very well. But I'm guessing you have something awesome too that I needed to try. So if you're gonna give me one great pre-spray on nasty trash disaster detail cloth seats that could maybe rescue a lot of these mysteries, and like, what would that one be?
So Saiger sauce one is going to be kind of close to your Flex things of that nature. Saiger's Code Red is going to be one level above these others with the oxygen enzyme, and have a lot of people have success with that too. Now, grease though, like, you got those stains of like a grease stain. You're going to need something what we call a dilylamine, a citrus. So, like in our case, we have a product called Dissolve All. It's Harvard Chemical, by the way. Dissolve All. DE-ZE. Yeah. AL. I have to look. Okay. Yeah. Like, I was a band director. I only 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Don't go to 5, 6, and 7. But so it's a citrus base, and you're going to want to water those down because dilylamines leave a residue and can leave an oil residue. So I'll sometimes use it in my videos like a watered down Dissolve All, where I'm talking only 10 to 12 ounces in a spray quart container. So down here a little bit, 10 to 12 ounces, and the rest with water. And you just mist that on. Scrub, agitate a bit, extract. It's good on oils, tars, grease. Yesterday's video, I was removing some paint with it. You'll see it's multi-use.
So I'm just trying to think like in a detailer's arsenal, right? They don't want to have too many products, but would they use the Dissolve All before Code Red or in conjunction with, or how could I? After. Okay. Yeah. So try okay. So you could go in, try Code Red as your pre-spray, mix it with hot water, right? Because hot water cleans better.
Yes.
Give it some dwell time if they can, and then agitate in, and then extract with what's your rinse agent?
Deep Blue, all-purpose, all-fiber rinse.
Okay, so you're rinsing with Deep Blue, and you see something left over. Then what do you do? Do you hit it with the peroxide? Do you do Dissolve All? Like. You're going to save, even if 99% of the people are not paying attention now, someone out there is going to thank you if they can get an answer.
So the first thing I go to is we'll use our Dissolve All citrus base, like a spray, and then just to get rid of what we can possibly. So we'll spray it on, we'll agitate, we'll rinse, we'll see if it did it. Then if it doesn't, we go to our Just Like Magic peroxide base typically, because peroxide could be the part that takes away over time. What is it? Looks like a permanent stain, but it could be a coffee stain, pop soda spill stain. Another thing is you'll find sometimes when you spray the peroxide on this stain, it'll start fizzing and bubbling. So it's organic, it's a food stain, some grease. And again, it needs time. So you'll see I have some furniture or even a car, neither one of them's taken. And all of a sudden I spray the peroxide on and boom, here it goes. It just starts fizzing and bubbling. And I know that's a good sign. It's now going to take some time for it just to go away on its own.
I want to talk about your story now. So carpet cleaning's in your blood.
Yeah.
You were a band director. Can you give me how all these dots connect and how we get to Mark Saiger with the YouTube channel and the product line and the personality that everyone seems to really love? Can I connect the dots for me?
So I grew up in North Dakota by the Canadian border. My dad was a high school band director and a carpet cleaner, but he started carpet cleaning kind of later. And we came from farming. I mean, we're Red River Valley. So we always said my family's been playing in dirt and playing with dirt all of our lives, and so we come from that farming background, which I loved. I grew up on the farm. I had fun. I'd run around on dirt bikes and go-karts and be running down the main highway going from our farm to Bathgate, North Dakota, which is hardly anything, and waving at the state patrol as you're going down the road at, 10, 12 years old. And, you shouldn't be on the road legally and no intent or anything. You're just driving, going into town. It was a great life. It honestly was. So at some point, my dad found out he wasn't making much money as a teacher. And so we decided to take the leap of faith and going into carpet cleaning full time. And we moved from Walhalla, North Dakota to Warren, Minnesota. So we're like 30 minutes out of Grand Forks. And so I was there from like 1976. So starting my 9th grade year to senior year. And the town I'd been in before was a little tougher. I'd get beat up just going home from school because somebody was upset if my dad sent him to detention or something. And be like, oh boy, yeah. So here we go. Start running or have your dirt bike posted over in the neighbor's yard to fire it up and get out of there. But so I got to the Warren, Minnesota, and it turned out to be a great little community, and I do love it. And my parents are still there. They're in the nursing home there in Warren, which is an awesome facility too. But so my dad started the carpet cleaning business there. And I mean, we just grew up doing it. That's how you're going to make your living. You're going to earn your time. But I remember as 10 years old, I was out in the van with my dad cleaning carpets. We lived in a school bus setting up what was considered his territory, because it was my dad's uncle Merle who started this. And it was Merle's steam clean way back then. And so then he wanted 10%, for a franchise deal. And it was all family that had bought in. So we're like, Uncle Merle, we're not giving you 10%, but we were under Merle's. Everyone knew Merle. So my dad ended up, though, from there building his carpet cleaning business. He eventually had 3 vans, and I forget this stuff. But so it was me, my 2 younger brothers, and we all became carpet cleaners, but we didn't. We took different paths. So I was a trumpet player. I've been playing trumpet since I was 3. My dad was a trumpet player. So kind of got recruited to college, ended up being at Mayville State a year, got recruited to Bemidji State, went there, and to worm my way through college, my dad gave us a carpet cleaning machine and said, here's your college education. So we started cleaning carpets while we were in school. I ended up being a music major because I just had the biggest passion for music, still cleaning carpets. My other brother ended up being a police officer, undercover, drug dog and everything too. Left that, became a carpet cleaner again, and then my little brother became an industrial technology engineer, doing engineering stuff. Became a carpet cleaner. So we just couldn't get rid of it. Still musicians, still doing all of that. And I still play on occasion. But I ended up I had a student teaching opportunity in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, where I am today. I had 2 other choices on where to student teach on this farm. And I'm like, Grand Rapids, I've never been there. Being 18 or 19 years old, I'm going to go to Grand Rapids. Had this awesome experience here. I didn't even know what was happening here. And I got recruited if I'd teach. And so I said, I'll teach band for a little while, maybe a year or 2. And, because I had my carpet cleaning business back in Bemidji, Minnesota, that my little brother was also keeping going. And my dad was keeping going because we were growing. And 25 years later, I quit teaching. I'd been dabbling a little bit yet, with carpet cleaning. And then I was
doing carpet cleaning jobs every weekend or just occasionally? Like how dabbling is dabbling?
So I sold the carpet cleaning business that I'd started here. I think it was 93 or something like that. And then I was back in it again in 2000. But I sold it to a guy that worked for us out of Warren. Yeah.
So 7-year gap is kind of so
huge.
Maybe I'll get back into detailing because I had a business partnership that sort of dissolved. And I kind of sad. For folks who are watching, you may know Hawk Pro Detailing was my channel. We had Hawk Pro Detailing in Heber, and I heard that he finally closed the doors and it didn't work out for him. So I don't think there's a Hawk Pro Detailing anymore in Utah. And I'm like, I don't know. I have DIY detail now, but I'm like, I kind of miss, I don't think I miss it that much. Because it's really hard. This stuff, this is hard work. I love it, but depending on it for my income, that's a hard deal. Anyway, so you gave up the business for 7 years and you got back into it. Okay. And you're still teaching at this point?
I was teaching. So I was doing it part-time. So at that point, too, I'd met my wife. I'd been racing snowmobiles, jet skis, stock car as well in college, too. So I was having a great time spending money, blowing up motors every week. So I'd be down close to New Brighton, getting a new motor every week, and hot seat performance and Speedworks and all this. And I was having a blast. And I was known as the only racing band director in the world, that kind of deal. Raced the I-500 to raise money for my kids for going to Florida for the kids who needed help. It was just all kinds of stuff. I had a great time. And then I met my wife, who had 3 girls and lived just down the road. She
already had 3 girls at the time.
Had 3 girls. She'd been divorced and met her in just one of those whims. And
how old were you when you met her?
30s, early 30s. Yeah.
Okay. So you'd had a long life so far, not being married or had kids. Okay.
Yeah. So, exactly. And so I was having fun and spending all that money by myself. And my wife was great, by the way. So we ended up getting married in 2021. Yes. So at that point I was like, man, it's expensive having a family.
You just figured it out.
Trying to race. Yeah, I just figured that out. I'm going to go back into carpet cleaning, a little side business. I can clean, I was still teaching band in the summer, so I didn't have any summers off like a typical teacher. But I would clean carpets to 1 or 2 even after school. And then I'd run back up to the school for pep band too. So I was going like crazy. And I was even doing restoration, fire and flood work. And I was like non-sleep, I swear. And I could do it back then. But So I started it back up and it started to take off. And in 2008, I ended up quitting teaching. I didn't even go to retirement. I quit. So, and then I remember getting back and, giving my brother static. What were you guys doing while I was gone? So, and then the chemical line, we'd been working on stuff even at time and then just worked on it more further beyond that. But I went into total cleaning. Leap of faith. I walked away from a lot of my retirement and all of my retirement medical, and I went right in. And so I've been doing it. We've run 3 vans now. We're booked out anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 weeks, and people will wait for us. We are not an inexpensive company. If you see my vans, they're all detailed up, and they got full wraps on them, and they've got the mag wheels on them and tires, and they look off road. And I've got a light show underneath the one I run, and I call Christine because, like the car, she was a little bit of a problem when I first got her. So she's got herself she's known in the industry as being Christine at times.
Well, and I remember, because I wanted to ask you about carpet cleaning. I thought this was the ticket to making good money. Because as you said, detailing's hard work. We often undercharge for our time, or we don't communicate well, or we overdo it and spend 2 hours on something that is not our fault, like a red stain isn't going to come out. There are a million ways that I see people making mistakes running detailing businesses. I made them all. I was like, maybe carpets are the answer. And I don't know if it's that I didn't invest in a Butler, which is a brand of truck mount. I think you have Butlers. Maybe we could talk about that. But I was like, the Butlers look like the easiest to maintain and the nicest. And there were all these different truck mounts, which are basically these trucks with Utah. What is a truck mount? First of all, for folks out there who don't know, what is the investment required to start a business in carpet cleaning? And do you recommend it?
Well, so you're going to start out probably with a portable. And when you're cleaning automotive, you're okay with the portable.
And that's just an extractor. I got a giant $2,000 portable, but you can get smaller ones and all the way down to like a Bissell Spot Clean Pro, which is like...
Get yourself a little bigger one with a little better extraction. And, we talked about the browning issues. By the way, our rinse will help eliminate the browning a little bit too with the formulation, by the way. But so, you want to extract, and one powerful enough to extract versus leaving as much behind. So there are going to be some better detailing units and detailing heads that accessories use on it. But that's a portable. You plug it in the wall, it stays in your shop, or you can throw it in a vehicle, the back of the vehicle, and you got to lug it around in and out.
The Mighty Light is a pretty popular. I think it's the 10, 8, 10, 7. I can't remember the model number anymore, but it's very popular in detailing, and it's for a reason. What's nice about it is it's got the exposed basin, so you can pull the trigger and spray into your basin, which then can circulate if you're trying to get the water to heat up faster. Yeah. Anyway.
So John Don's got some really good ones too that they've done. And another Hydromaster's got some really good units that they're making, portables, by the way, too. You might want to look at them. They're really good, very durable, and some of the same features you're talking about.
That industry better than I. That was the one.
And they'll last.
And then I upgrade to like an Olympus, which might be just a branded version, whatever. There's a lot of extractors out there. So you would start with a pretty sturdy portable with a long wand and all that.
Yeah. And that's if you're doing detailing. Now, if you're doing carpet cleaning, then we start talking, people will start with portables too, or low moisture, but truck mounts, there's a point where you get into a truck mount because it's going to save you time. It's faster. It will clean. I tell people, if you started out cleaning with a portable, though, there's a good chance you can be an incredible carpet cleaner because you've had to learn how to clean. A portable, it's a little more work, but it will make you a better cleaner. Yeah.
I had to lug this thing up 2 flights of stairs in these mansions. Yeah. And I had to get it into my truck and out, and it's so heavy. And then every time I have to dump the water into a bucket, which I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with it. It's nasty brown extractor water. I'm dumping it in their nice toilets and flushing it. It is so much work. I got so burned out, Mark. I said, screw carpet cleaning. Plus, as they told me at CCT training, when you're inside a home, you're at best a welcome intrusion. Whereas when I was working on their cars, I felt like I was out of their space. That was like, I could kind of put my headphones on, do my thing. There was no pressure of time. Anyway, that's probably why I wasn't a super efficient detailer, because I didn't feel the time pressure. But anyway, I never made the jump to truck mount. Can you explain what the truck mount does for you? I got the sense that it gave me way more heat and PSI when I was blasting the carpets for the rinse.
For the most part, they will. They're going to have, because it's going to be the unit that sits outside. And I watch some people try to use a portable, just mount it outside and then run all their hoses in. And the more hose you run inside, you're going to lose, performance. Some units like our truck mounts are going to be larger blowers, can heat the water while it's out there. Either like in my case, off a heat exchanger unit from that motor, or from, in my case, I run direct drives in the Butlers with it. Everything runs off the van motor. So they are expensive, and they're one of the Cadillacs in the industry for that. But any truck mount, even if it's a slide-in, meaning it's going to be all contained on its own base and have its own, like I'll call it a garden tractor type motor, okay, easier to envision. And some are liquid cooled and some are air cooled. And there's going to be different levels, bigger blowers, different type of heating elements. There'll be a whole lot in that truck mount world too. So like the chemistry world where we all think ours is better, you'll have that in the truck mount world because everyone will think it's better. So, it's what you get used to or what you can service, but also are you mechanical? So that'll depend on what you might choose. So in my case, I do run the Butlers, but they stay in the van. You take your hoses, your vacuum hoses and a high pressure line hose into the house. That's going to be on a reel typically, or you're going to take in and lay out. So what beats us up in a day is the setup and tear downs also, but less than with the portable that you're lugging all over the place. You're lugging in hoses. There's some incredibly long hose runs. You start getting up, most of your typical hose runs are anywhere from 100 feet to 150 feet. Some places you are at could be 200 foot. And if you start getting into 300, 400, 500 foot hose runs, you're gonna lose suction and performance. And like the longest run I think I've ever run on my truck mount was 425 feet. And I have what's called a larger 2.5 inch hose intentionally. Not many people use it. And I had 200 feet of that, then another 200 and some feet of 2-inch hose. And as I kept going back towards the van, getting shorter in my cleaning distances, I would take off the hose. I kept getting more power, more suction. The other thing is, I was on second and third floor, so gravity's your friend. So the suction comes down a little faster. Okay, so with that being said, a bigger truck mount's what you're going to need to really be efficient, or you're going to leave carpets just as wet. Have the same issues as what a portable. So going from a portable and truck mount doesn't necessarily make you a better cleaner.
So the truck mount isn't just blasting at higher PSI into the carpet at higher heat, although that's great. It's also sucking a lot of the water in a better way than my portable was. Because I had the long wand. I mean, I had the whole thing with my portable extractor. I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't sucking that well.
Well, they don't all the time. And there are extractors that are better. But another thing is the wands that you'll use. Okay, you'll see on my wands and you'll see on the tools I have, it's called a glide. It's going to be a Teflon glide. And I'll give a shout out to Green Glides, who really has worked on this. If you look at greenglides.com, you'll see these. It's just plastic. It's not plastic, though. It's Teflon. And it's a really high-end Teflon that they machine and cut to fit your particular wand. So there's tons of wands out there that he has to do it. Wow. Matter of fact, just before the podcast, he called me. I was talking about a couple things. But in our industry, like my case and friends of mine, like Eric Hiltz with Zipper Wand and these manufacturers I work with, we're trying to make things better. Because myself as a cleaner out here in the industry, I want to make my cleaning easier, more enjoyable, and have the best possible cleaning experience I can have and my clients can.
Well, so what I'm mentioning is like when you're in their house, you're at best a welcome intruder.
Yeah.
You have a very warm personality. So let's talk about some tips that you think any cleaner, whether you're a detailer or a carpet cleaner, ought to maybe use or have or know about to be better at customer service. Because really you're a customer service business, right? So what are some tips you give to young guys about how to be, how to act, how to dress? You're starting a cleaning business, whether it's detailing or carpet cleaning. What advice do you have?
So personality is going to be, personality is going to be what will get you the opportunity to do work and service for a client really well. We sometimes call it being the goober. If you're being the goober out there, there's a moment being goober and fun and funny, but there's a time you might not fit the personality you're trying to work for. If you come to the door, you allow them to show their personality first. But also, if you're going to get in the door, you do need to look good. Your equipment needs to look good. If you're going to charge a Mercedes-Benz price for cleaning, you better be driving up in a Mercedes-Benz type vehicle. And I'm not saying the Mercedes-Benz itself, but you clean. It better be clean. It better look good. It better be detailed as well. So I'm going to clean your carpets, and I'm showing up in this grease-filled, oil-ridden, looking busted down, rusty vehicle. I'm here to clean your carpets. Ignore that out there. No. Same thing. Your detailing rig. You're going to show up with somebody, or they're coming to your shop. It better look good presentation when it walks in, because why am I going to be here? I mean, if you're here, if you're cleaning my stuff, clean your stuff. Make sure
that really matters.
It absolutely does. You show up in uniform. So like in this case here, these are shirts that I've had custom done. And I'm just going to say where I get them because it's the only place I've gotten. But there should be some others out there. And these are like sun shirts and stuff too. I get these in Newport Richey, Florida. It's a 72-hour print. They do them in their sublimation dye. And my guys love them because we're not sweating like crazy all the time, and they're not staining. I get a little snagged at occasion here and there, but this shirt here, I think, is like 3 years old, maybe two.
Nice. It looks brand new.
Well, it's because my guy's telling me I don't clean as much. But no, we love them, honestly. So there's shirts or a polo or a t-shirt, even your t-shirts, whatever you're wearing. And as they're getting greasy and oily, replace them. Your vehicle, I've got to even say, like your towels, your rags, if they start looking so terrible, you at some point do need to replace. And, just be aware.
If the customer is going to see these, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And there's times they will. You don't know that they're seeing it, or it's just the whole presentation. Make sure you're clean cut. If you're showing up and you're not shaving all the time, there's a look for some of that for a little bit too, but you still gotta be trimmed a little bit. Or your hair, if it's getting so long and shaggy and stuff, it's like, in our case, I have an account going on with our barbers downtown. I'm just telling you, kid, go on in anytime. We pay for it. Go
for your technicians.
Absolutely. Yep.
Really?
No excuse then. But yeah,
that's cool, because there's a lot of detailers who try to grow like I did, and you have employees and you struggle, and and then there's a lot of times where you're just like, I'm just a car cleaner. I'm just out here scrubbing vomit out of carpets, or cleaning brake dust off of rims, and you're like, it doesn't matter how I look, because that was some of the talk I would give myself. Oh, I'm just a scrub. I'm just cleaning. I don't know. Yeah. But I think the message I hear from you is like, if you look the part. If you act the part of a respectable, clean-cut business owner, if you present, then that's a good way to be.
Yeah, definitely. And also, if you have some personality, they want to do business with you as a person. Personality, clean-cut. So, even if you're doing the tattoos and stuff, which one of my guys loves tattoos, and, they sometimes can scare the old ladies. So in that case, but Brady's so good and easy. I mentioned his name, but Brady's so great about it. Brady can walk in and warm up these little old ladies like, oh my God, next thing you know, he's going out with the cookies and a pot roast meal, So that's part of it too. Understanding how you look, you maybe then have to even work a little harder to warm them up, because tattooing is the big thing these days, and whatever, and piercings and stuff. And so there's some clientele that can be afraid of that. I always told my kids, the high school band kids, if we're walking through a mall and there's like 100 of us and me and 100 of you kids coming through the mall, everybody's like spreading out. I'm getting away from these kids. You need to understand that, and also be able to be warm enough, or the personality that people want to, hey, what are you guys? Where are you from? What are you doing? And we had that happen because we would focus on teaching our kids how to be warm enough to be people want to know you, and not being a bunch of, I'll call it like thugs, looking thugs and stuff. So make sure you know that. So
warmth is very important than you think. And again, some of this is so natural to someone like you, or maybe even me, when we kind of punch it up and act real nice when we meet the customer. But it's a good reminder for folks. Warmth, is that something you think before I talk to a customer or show up at their door, maybe if I already booked the job, be warm and friendly?
Even on the phone. I mean, and sometimes they'll book online or whatever. So you got to keep that in mind, the reception. How receptive is your online form and warm feeling stuff? But when they call you, how is the voice? I mean, if they call you, I maybe just had the worst bad moment if something happened, but I got to change it up, suck it up, and like smile. They can tell when you're smiling through the phone. And I'm not lying. You can tell when someone is smiling through the phone. A smile does so much. I mean, you can come in with this like anger look, and all of a sudden, and the smile just changes everything like that. And then the person smiles.
Yes. And when I used to anchor, and sometimes before we do our videos for DIY Detail, I will smile. Because if you smile, it forces you, it changes the whole chemistry of your body, I feel like, to the point where it's like 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody, it's Nick from DIY Detail. I can't help but kind of bring a little bit of an energy there, even if I'm in a funky mood. So smiling even on the phone, people can tell. I love that.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, and I don't even know when your podcast, if our pictures are going to be here while this is going there. But when I said the word smile, you started smiling.
Really?
Yeah, it's an automatic thing. You started smiling and your eyes went brighter too. Now, that's part of the thing. When you start smiling, our eyes brighten up. So, we learned that. Being a stage and a performer, I've learned that not from somebody necessarily telling me, but I've discovered it and I tell people and I taught my kids, you just need to learn how to, you're performing and people are here to see you. And if there's only 10 people in the audience, those 10 people took it out of their time to come and see you. And now you even have a better personal experience because it's a smaller crowd.
Can I be honest? When you're carpet cleaning in someone's home and they're watching, you're performing. So what advice do you have for that? That's what I didn't like, is I felt like the one place that I went to in detailing, I probably made detailing be way more than it needed to be, because it was my therapist, it was my escape. And then when cleaning couldn't be my escape and someone was watching, that kind of messed with me. Because you are kind of performing inside the home, aren't you?
I love it, to be honest. I always tell the client, I said, well, they're like, I'll be over here if you need anything. Hey, I tell them, hey, I don't mind an audience. Seriously. Part of the thing is if you allow them, not like you're trying to hide something, most of the time, then they disappear on you. They will test you to find out, do I trust you in my home? They will, with certain conversations. Well, that's great. Awesome. I can tell you from an experience, I just got done doing a job. It was the springtime, and it was like, even my hose was kind of dragged through some sand and mud and stuff, and to get the interior van dirty, and so you're brushing it out as fast as you can before the next client. I went to the next client's house. She happened to come out and see my van, and her son runs a high-end in Chicago construction company. And she came out, she saw my van, and she comes back in and says, your vans look fantastic. And it was that test to find out. And she mentioned it. Your vans look so good. And that's how my son keeps his vehicles on his construction site. So I know you're going to be excellent. We'll be downstairs. Just let me know when you're done. And we'll have a check waiting for you. And let me know if you need anything too. There's a soda in the fridge if you wish. Talk about the trust moment, the moment you showed up with your vehicle or you came in smiling and made them comfortable in like 2 minutes.
Well, and that's what, and listen, carpet cleaning is so interesting. It's been your life. Detailing, I think, is fun because you get to work on these cool cars, and clients look at you like, oh, you're not just the hired help. You're working on my nice car. I got a different feeling as a carpet cleaner. I felt like they treated me a little differently. And so, but I also was like, but I feel like there's guys like the Saigers and the John Donne people who are saying like, there is a really nice life to be had if you do this carpet cleaning thing right. And so much of the carpet cleaning world, I feel like, doubles down in training people on customer service, because y'all know something that maybe we don't about how important, I think they said, building moments of trust. There's like, so maybe as we wrap up, can you just teach me everything there is? Teach me all the customer service stuff that could help me win as a detailer, maybe, or as a human being, right? In all facets of life.
I think the thing is you need to put value on your service and on your business. You need to put a value and a monetary value, which you need to know what it costs you to do business, first of all. And being cheap will get you cheaper clients. Being a high end and being confident and being able to prove that I can do this work and I'm going to charge, the other person will do that whole car for $250, but yet I'm $500 to $750. They might go price shop around, but then they're going to find out recommendations or see your work and see your confidence and say, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it for that price. I'm very sorry about that, but it would take me this amount of time probably to do that. I don't feel confident doing it at that price and not being able to guarantee my work or make you happy or me trying to make us both happy if how my work will be. I don't lose a bunch of jobs these days. I had a restaurant call, hadn't been cleaned in years, and I let them price it around and shop around, and I was double the price of the next carpet cleaners. But yet a month later, they called us and we were in cleaning it. And that video will be coming out probably in 3-4 weeks. It hadn't been cleaned in probably 5 years. I had a job I just did that'll be up this weekend. on a tile and grout job. And in 15 years, the tile and grout had never been professionally cleaned in 15 plus years. We were making chocolate mocha down on the floor with the pre-sprays and cleaner. And the reason we got the job is because on a whim, they called us to clean their carpets. And then they found out, you can clean tile and grout? Yeah, we can do that. Go take a look at our bar, would you please? And next thing we know, we're cleaning it. And it was a tough one, really tough. But it's pride. So you as a cleaner, you need to value how you price your jobs, because you know it could take this and you know what you're going to go for and what the end product will be. Have confidence in yourself. Have confidence in self, how you can clean, how good you are, and what your value should be to that. So that's where we're at. We are not cheap. And I'm so thankful that my parents and my family started us. We weren't cheap. We started out with the confidence that we can do this. Arrogant sometimes, maybe we were, and find out that we're not that good. That's fine. You'd be able to, try to predict and know that and learn. But realistically, value yourself. Really value yourself.
To wrap this up, I did want to ask you, because maybe this could be a learning lesson for others. What was the biggest, most catastrophic whoopsie, mistake, mess up you ever had as a cleaner? And then how did you deal with it? This week or last week?
No, you will make some mistakes. I'm trying to think of a catastrophic moment. I mean, I can think of it. Nothing has been super catastrophic. I mean, there have been some things that would get broken in a home and you feel terrible, and then you find out it's family heirloom or something, and it's maybe happened once or twice. But we've always been able to work it out. But we've been very dissatisfied with ourselves on that and actually take it personally. But we've every now and then you've got that high pressure hose that will break at some point. We'll replace them once a year, but it'll break. And by luck, I've known that grab that vacuum hose and get it on top of it quick, get running outside, get those hoses out, or throw that hose in, because luckily it'll usually break, not in the middle, it'll break where you can jam it down a vacuum hose. We had one lady standing there as I'm spraying her house down with this high pressure and start spraying up in the air and everything. She's thankfully laughing, and she would be one of the people that I never thought would laugh. And I was so thankful for that moment. And our daughter was working at the same time, and we were wrestling the hose down, and water and towels and rags flying everywhere. He says, you guys got it handled. Thanks. And I'm in the back of my head going, oh, thank you.
That could have been worse.
It could have been so much worse. Yeah.
Mark, where can folks find you online? They may have more questions about carpet cleaning. I know you have a YouTube channel, but I'm sure you get reached out to quite a bit by young cleaners. So I don't want to overdo that. But is there a place for them to go to learn more about carpet cleaning, about Saiger sauce, any of that?
So type in my name, Mark Saiger, Saiger sauce, but just go to YouTube. It's Mark Saiger. I've got, it's not the hugest following in the world. Carpet cleaning isn't the biggest niche in YouTube, but, we've got lots of regular cleaning. We've got super dirty cleaning, and we've got bad dad jokes. I got all that too. So you'll find, yeah.
And often, honestly, watching you clean, there's a lot of principles that you can bring to cars, which is you do something, you agitate it, it's not perfect, then what does Mark do, right? And then we watch you troubleshoot in the field, and it's like, oh, and that gives you ideas for how you could, like I was watching you do a dirty house the other day, and it was like, you just agitated a lot more than I thought would be necessary. And you were like, make sure you go along the fibers this way, and then you're using your brush going this way, and you just kept on doing it, and it was like, oh, this just takes time sometimes. So
yes, it does.
It's fun to watch you clean and then learn from you. And that's why with DIY Detail, we have all these videos. Like, I can't possibly teach you everything in one fell swoop. But when you watch our process and then you see how we handle different situations, then your brain starts to sort of like rewire and understand the whole context of cleaning scenarios and how to respond.
Yeah, you'll find me on the Facebooks, the Instagrams, I'm doing a little TikTok. But hey, I'm 63 years old. I had to learn all these platforms, and I'm self-taught.
And if you could do it, anyone can, right? Like, you weren't a film major who started your own YouTube channel.
No.
Like, I know we should wrap up, but any tips for guys who are like, I can't possibly clean the dang car and film myself doing it?
It's hard. But yeah, get a tripod. I started out everything on an old, Samsung Galaxy phone, and YouTube is my first YouTube video was because I got a zipper one, and my son-in-law says, "You got a YouTube channel? You got a Gmail account? Oh, let's try one tonight." And it was before Facebook, it could send out a good quality video that I could help share somebody how to fix it. So that's why I started YouTube. And I never took it serious, and probably until about 4 or 5 years ago, a little more serious. But it was just a means to be able to go out, hey, I'll run up my van or whatever. I'll take a quick video. I'll send you the link. So that's how it did. So you see a lot of those old videos. And then I had a video guy actually reach out to me, and Peter Gregg, and helping me with cameras and some audio and things. And so then I started learning and researching. So I'm not as good as, like, say, you on your videos and stuff. And it's also hard to in the field because we're running. Well, this is actual site. And this is like you get one shot at it. There's no redoing the shot because it's only dirty one time. Yes. And so when that camera's going and, you don't have as much stable as you'd hope for, and you're one hand cleaning it all, it ain't. So it's going to be the same thing. I do have to put a plug in. The Osmo Pocket 3 is a great little camera, by the way. If you were detailing, I think that would be the niche. And my son-in-law uses it, and it comes with a nice wireless mic. You can add a second, which we do. But it's really easy, and it's got the gimbal built in it, too. That would be what I would be trying to do and clean with, and even a little tripod. So,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there because we've had success with it.
Okay.
Well, Nick got a hold of me, and we did miss out on something. It was a burning question for him, and that's in regards to what do you do with wick back situations where stains come back on you, and how do you prevent them? Well, one of the things is most wick backs happen because of excess soils that are still in the fibers or in the carpet, and or also whoever the owner is, homeowner in our case is a carpet cleaner, has maybe used everything under the kitchen sink, even though they haven't, as they'll tell you. But that causes a residue situation that's very difficult to take out of the fibers, fabrics, and carpets. The other thing else we want to do as a cleaner, again, is that pre-vacuum. You want to make sure you get as much dry soil as you can out before you start cleaning, because it's the soils also that can wick back. In a number of cases where you've got like this browning and stuff, a lot of times it can be soils. And you want to think it as overwetting, which then, how do you fix it? Well, you can use, again, that peroxide method that I mentioned earlier. You missed it on a 3% peroxide of hydrogen peroxide you get from Uptown. Just let it sit there, do its job, don't extract. We use our product called Just Like Magic from Harvard Chemical, which is a 1 part. It's about triple the strength of what you get Uptown. You miss that on it, you just leave it again too. But to avoid it completely, you want to get out the residue you can. Make sure you pre-vacuum very well, extract, and then dry faster. Now, the case we'd mentioned, our Saiger's Deep Blue All-Purpose All-Fiber Rinse, that's formalization is also to help avoid having wickbacks and browning issues. So again, hopefully this will answer a little bit of that for you and for Nick, and just reach out to us at sagers.com. I'll be more than happy to help. Another thing you can use is an encapsulation product, which we've talked about. That's where you just basically spray it on and you do a lot of scrubbing and buffing. So an encapsulation product, again, with our peroxide base, like our Saiger's 2X double strength Oxy Encap, what we call the code red of Encaps, you mist that on, you start buffing on it, and again, you're activating even the peroxide again to be a little quicker and working. The encapsulation can help then dry and even help keep down those wicking soils. So it's another way to trap them a little bit, and then later on as vacuuming happens and time and et cetera just goes on, it does make it another potential way to remove browning. But peroxide is one of our quicker ways for us personally dealing with these polyester and man-made fibers.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, we'll leave it there. I really appreciate you spending time with us here.
Thanks, man.
On Nick at Night.